Hi, my name is Leanne, and this is the Everyday Princess. Welcome. Isn't it amazing that being the daughter of the King of Kings transforms our everyday lives? You may remember that I have had a Ukrainian family living with me for the last year. Tanya and her twins, who are 13, Irina, the girl, and Tima, the boy. A few months ago, they needed to make a trip back to the Ukraine. And I must say, I thought, how can this be possible? How can they travel to a war-torn country? Is this safe? Will they be okay? What will it be like there for them? Well, Tanya's father was very sick, and so it was important for them to go back to be able to say a last goodbye. And as it turned out, they were there when her father passed away and were there also for the funeral before they returned to Austria. So I asked her when she got back, so what is it really like in the Ukraine now? What is it like to live there? Well, she told me 10 things that are interesting to mind-boggling. Number one is, she said, yes, we can buy food there. It costs twice the price, and actually the price goes up almost every day. But you can get food. And two, many of the older people have stayed in the country, partly because that's home and they have nowhere to go, but also in the case of those with farm animals, they stay to care for their animals. 3, is there electricity? Yes, there is electricity, but it only comes to her apartment for a few hours each afternoon. And so they plan around those few hours. But she says, you adjust. They were there also to get passports for the kids, and that was absolutely doable. So the structure in that area works in the country still. It's hard to imagine, can they use banks? Do things function normally? And yes, they can use banks too. Trains. They came in by train from Austria and then down into Ukraine. Well, the trains in Ukraine, they have a plastic see-through covering on all of the windows in case of bombs, so that the glass does not break into pieces and harm the people in the train. She said at some point you have to stop living in the basement. She said you have to continue with life. You can't just stay in the basement. And one example of this is when a siren goes off, which is common during the day and the night, I assume. You can look over at a playground from up above in your apartment, and you can see the children continuing to play. And she said, from her experience too, even when a missile was shot at the country and in their area, people just kept on walking. Can you imagine a place where that's so common that you just keep walking? I can't. There was a friend of her son's, of Tanya's son, who he got to see and he was very happy to see in Ukraine. And Tanya said, why don't you come visit us in Austria? And the boy said, no, I can't because my dad's a soldier. He signed up and I want to be here if he comes home for a visit. And it was so brutal. Within an hour, there was news that this little boy's dad had been killed. This is everyday life there. It's horrible. Tanya also said that the soldiers' conditions, especially in the winter when it's so cold, they were really difficult, really, really difficult. And she said that, almost word for word, translated of course, it's a sin to complain because we know how difficult it is for our soldiers. So only having electricity for 2 hours a day, it's nothing to complain about. So that is just a little taste of the difficult conditions that they face. I pray that this would bring to mind, hearing these points would bring to mind the Ukraine and that you would continue to pray for them, pray for an end to the war, and pray that they would find hope, as hope can only be found in Jesus Christ, and that they would know that God loves them and has a plan to rescue them from their own sins and to have a life forever with Him in heaven. Please pray. Thank you.